The fans in there were going absolutely wild.
A Conference League and a Club World Cup don't suddenly turn you into a club legend. They need to do an awful lot more.
Just get him in there, he's amazing. Just give him the chance to go and shine.
With their talent, they should be wiping the floor with teams and they don't quite manage it.
Yeah.
I'm going to upset you.
We are so back. Not just myself and Chelsea reporter Jack Rosser in the Chelsea Exposed studio, but also Chelsea FC, who have beaten the reigning champions Liverpool in a 2-1 masterclass at Stamford Bridge. Jack, how are you? Because I'm fantastic.
I'm good, mate. I don't think I'll ever quite match that level of excitement or enthusiasm about Chelsea, but no, I'm very good, thank you.
I am absolutely buzzing. Chelsea, I thought, were brilliant, and seeing Enzo Maresca run all the way down the touchline in a Jose Mourinho-esque sprint to celebrate with this genius, Estevao, was just incredible. I'm so thrilled with the result. We're going to talk about Estevao, and that actually leads us into our first talking point. Jack, let's talk about the brilliant Brazilian.
Where do you want to start? I mean, fantastic moment for him. We've sort of been waiting for that. He came in pre-season, didn't he? And looked really sharp in those two games, a short pre-season. Obviously, he was with Palmeiras still at the Club World Cup, so still had that half on, half off summer that most of the Chelsea squad did. But there's been a lot of excitement about him building up ever since it was known that he would be arriving. All these comparisons to Messi, Neymar, anyone like that, the level of player that Chelsea are getting. And then I think from the fans, there's been an itching to see him in even more, but the coaches have got to play a really smart balancing game, really, of whether you throw him in, whether you put him back, because it can be so easy to throw a player like this straight in, burn them out, and you don't see the best of them.
Yeah.
We saw the best of him coming off the bench. I mean, even before the goal, which is a huge moment for him. It feels like a big moment for the squad and the club and the manager this season. We'll get on to that. But even before then, the introduction of him and Gittins on either wing just turned it up a little bit, and he really influenced the game, which for such a young player playing against the champions for a big club is a fantastic moment.
Felt like a real turning point for him. So do you think now he's had this kind of burst onto the scene moment? He did obviously really well against West Ham as well when Chelsea beat them earlier in the season.
That never really counts though with this West Ham.
That's true also. Do you think he now comes into the starting 11, and what does he have to do for Maresca in order to become one of those players in the same way that Cole Palmer did? And Maresca compared him to Cole Palmer in the build-up to the Liverpool game, saying he's very similar to what Palmer was like when he coached him at City. Do you think he now comes in and establishes himself as that first-choice right-wing option?
I'm going to upset you. I wouldn't be starting.
Don't do it, Jack, please.
I wouldn't be starting him anytime soon. I think this balance they've got that I was talking about is perfect for him. He's such a young player. You speak to anyone, whether you interview a player, a manager, coaches at any level that have come either from the Championship into the Premier League or from overbroad into the Premier League, from overseas into the Premier League. There's such a step up, not in technical or tactical level, that's at a fairly high level everywhere. It's the sort of brute force and physicality. Everywhere there's intense running and hard work. Nowhere like the Premier League are you getting hit by a couple of buses a match, and that's what you're coming up against. And I think Estevao did incredibly well coming on, but he was up against a Liverpool team that are only not unsure of themselves, had flown to Istanbul and back in the week. Were getting towards the end of the game, trying to maybe chase something but also hold themselves together. He was up against a fullback in Andy Robertson that ended up with an injury as well. I think he's in this perfect position now where you just keep reining him in a bit, keep him hungry for it, and have that impact off the bench. They've got so many options out wide, which is something we should dive into as well in terms of who the best two wingers to start are at the moment. He makes an incredible impact off the bench. He's such a good weapon to throw in, and you don't have that pressure at the moment for an 18-year-old to be starting, delivering, having to do it. I think you can, a teenager's career is going to have so many peaks and troughs, especially at an early stage. We've seen it with Cole Palmer. Incredible drops off because so much is asked of him. You don't want to be putting Estevao in that situation so early in his Chelsea career.
That's a very sensible viewpoint. My emotional
Just throw him in.
view is just get him in there. He's amazing. Just give him the chance to go and shine. But let's talk about a man right here, Moises Caicedo. For those of you watching, you can see him here. I spoke to him after the Liverpool game. He was incredible in that game. So good. That rocket from outside the box was insane. One of the best goals Chelsea will score all season. I hope not, but it will be. He said he wants to emulate Kante and Makelele in his time at Chelsea. He said he wants to become a legend here. He's already well on his way to becoming that. There's been a lot of debate online between him and Declan Rice. I obviously have somewhat of a bias between the two, but you don't. So what are your views on who's
He's a
better
fantastic
between
player. I think to say he's a long way away, a long way towards becoming a legend, I think is quite generous. He was very good last season. He's made a very good start to this season. That doesn't a Conference League and a Club World Cup don't suddenly turn you into a club legend. They need to do an awful lot more. He's having such a good influence on games now, though. It's not. I mean, it's helpful if you can stride forward and stick one in the top corner.
Yeah.
But the way he's just controlling things, keeping the pace up. I think him and Enzo Fernandez were excellent at that against Liverpool, especially Enzo Fernandez. The passes were forwards, made quickly, rattled into the people ahead of him, rather than what we've seen a bit too much of at times with Chelsea, especially under Maresca. This ponderous, slow, not sloppy,
takes
but
ages.
Not going to really get you anywhere sort of passing. There was a lot more aggression from those two, and Malagusto pushed in as well. He was fantastic, especially in the first half, really getting in their faces. I have a real fondness for Declan Rice. I think he all round maybe offers a touch more at the moment. Again, that's going to upset you, but a few other people.
Jamie Carragher.
Yeah, I think Declan Rice does offer a bit more at the moment, especially where he's been pushed. He did a bit of it at West Ham, where he sort of was pushed forward into this more attacking role, but it certainly happened at Arsenal doing that. I think if Caicedo can mix the both like Declan Rice does, incredible player. He will be fully worth his asking price, his valuation. That's been a big stick to beat Chelsea with, these £200 million midfielders. But both of them, more so Caicedo, but Enzo Fernandez is on his way as well, are starting to show why that faith and investment was made in them. Yeah.
To him and Rice, both obviously incredible players, and Caicedo just deserves a mention for an unbelievable start to the season, because
I'm not saying he's nowhere near there. They're very close. You could each weekend you could have either of them as maybe the one that would add a bit more, but at the moment Declan Rice is just there. If he goes and wins Champions League or a Premier League title, then he'll be well ahead of him.
Yeah, let's hope for the best in that case, from me at least. It was a huge result against Liverpool, a big game. The pressure was on Chelsea because they need to get these kind of results, and they'd had a bit of a wobble before that. The whole start to the season, to be honest, wasn't entirely convincing. But do you think this can now be a point for them to build on? Because they've beaten the reigning champions. When I spoke to Caicedo after the game, he said their focus is on winning the league, basically. That's what they want to do. Do you think there's still a chance that they can go all the way, or do you think it's a season too soon for the champions?
I don't think... obviously, there's a chance. There's every reason they could go on and do it. Looking across the entire season, I don't think they'll win the title this year. They're a lot closer to being able to do it, especially when they've got a full complement of players there. But we're already seeing the impact of the Club World Cup. It's had a fairly devastating impact. Injured. It's had a fairly devastating impact on their squad so far this season. So it's just such a big unknown. I don't think this is a year to be disappointed if they don't go and win the title. They should be finishing in the top four. They should be challenging for longer than they did last season. In terms of this being a kickstart, it can be, it should be. It should set the standard really for the aggression, the intent in the performance, especially the first half. Liverpool were awful in their first half. They weren't offering much, but Chelsea were capitalising on it. I still would have liked to see them create more. They did go in with the lead from their midfielder stepping forward and cracking it in from 20 odd yards out. So I think myself, the manager, would have wanted to see them creating a bit more as well. But again, you take in that Palmer's not there, which is taking a big part out of it. You've got the debate out wide. But I think the intent, the aggression, more than the result is what they need to take forward from this and replicate that in every game, because there are so many games that with their talent they should be wiping the floor with teams and they don't quite manage it, and don't get well ahead of themselves, taking the lead against Brighton and then falling back from that. If they kept that level of aggression and keep that going, a hard thing to do. Players across any level or league always step up against the bigger teams. It's having the mindset to go and do that against everyone, which is the big thing they should take.
Well, I think the next 3 league games are Forest away, Sunderland at home, and then Wolves away. So those 3 games, all 3 of them are Sunderland.
They're the ones where they need to go and stamp their foot down. If they want to be taken seriously and they're talking about going and winning the title, you come away from those games with 9 points.
Exactly, and they face Ajax in the Champions League in the middle of that as well, which is another game where Chelsea should be putting a stamp on that. And by the end of October, we should really be, well, if they are a team that has got the makings of a side that can go and win the title, we should be looking at 9 points from those 3 games and another 3 points in the Champions League. So we'll see, I suppose, if this is going to be a big building point for Chelsea, or if they'll go to a team like Forest away, which is a difficult place to go, even if they do have Ange Postecoglou in charge. And if they struggle there, then it might be back to same old Chelsea.
I think more than that, it's probably a moment for the manager as well to just take a huge amount of credit from this. He's obviously got sent off, and I think that whole thing is a nonsense. Like the booking in the first half for telling the referee to F off. Yeah. Absolutely fine. Don't be doing that. Bombing down the touchline to celebrate a last minute winner. That shouldn't be a yellow card, should it? It doesn't sit right. I know, laws of the game, but I don't think that's the sort of thing that the laws of the game should be punishing. But it should be, and Willy Caballero was asked about this afterwards, it felt like to all of us sat where we sit at Stamford Bridge, with just behind the dugout, and the emotion there, the celebrations there were really obvious to see. Maresca's really struggled for a connection with the fans. You did wonder if they'd start singing his name just after that moment and he wouldn't be there to hear it. They didn't. But if they're ever going to sing his name, that's a moment where you think that connection could have been formed. And if they are going to do good things and be serious and the fans are going to have their back when it gets difficult, those are the moments they'll look at.
It was so good. The atmosphere, I've complained in the past, and so has Maresca, and so have many other fans complained about the atmosphere, but the fans in there were going absolutely wild. Palmer was stood about a few metres in front of me, waving his hands, and he was going crazy. The subs next to him on the bench, half of them injured, they're all going wild. Hato's gone and smashed into Palmer and probably made his injury worse, but who cares, because we've beaten Liverpool and everyone's going crazy. So good, the atmosphere there. And there's been criticism over, like I said, criticism over the atmosphere, but also these kind of, the smoke coming out as the players walk out and the fireworks
which regardless of the result is still ridiculous.
Now they've added goal music when Chelsea have scored a last minute winner. One Step Beyond's playing at the end of the game. It's all going off, but the atmosphere in that game, I don't think you can argue that they've done a bad thing there, because it was absolutely brilliant.
It was good, and it'll be a big moment for the ownership as well. It's the first time under the owners, Todd Bowley, Bedelek Barley, they've beaten the reigning champions. Yeah. So they're little things that you tick off to show that this project is moving forward. There are going to be ups and downs, and because of the size of the club, when there's a down, people will poke and laugh because of the spending. But as long as they go in the right direction on the long term, these things are markers and big moments as well.
And we touched on it there, the Maresca red card. He won't be the only player missing, because, well, not player, the manager will be missing. Yeah, seems crazy to even say that, but Chelsea have got so many players out at the moment. Badiashile and Achimpong were added to that injury list during the Liverpool game. Did Caballero have anything to say about that after the game?
He said it was preventative, which is funny when you see them both limping off. That doesn't seem to prevent too much. It sounds like they're not too bad. They're all right. They've obviously got this international break to rest up and not trouble it. So hopefully that will be all right. Reece James has pulled out of the England squad after that collision, and we saw the picture of his leg in not too great shape. But if it is just that, looking at that, he should be fine for after the international break. I still think, as much as Maresca's argument is almost with these red cards, that the ones they've had this season are fine. Yeah. The ones they had last season were Nicholas Jackson, and they're the bad ones. We've got rid of that. I still think they just need to rein that in a bit, because those are the things we've seen it with Arsenal in the seasons before, where they've had such a poor disciplinary record and that has cost them the title. When you do get up to the level of Liverpool, Arsenal, those fine margins are what cause you problems. And even though Pedro's was in the Champions League, that could cause problems for him in the group stage, not finishing in the top 8, things like that. So that needs to be hammered home, and hopefully the manager will be chipping in a fine or something for his red card.
A boost for Chelsea will be that the international break has kind of come now, because like you said, Reece James isn't going to the England camp. João Pedro's not going with Brazil. Neither is Andre Santos. Estevao is going, so we'll see how he comes back. He should hopefully build on a huge Chelsea moment with Brazil and then come back fully fit and firing, ready to go. Moises Caicedo also not going with Ecuador, so these players have got a bit of a chance to hopefully recuperate and come back stronger for Chelsea. But just touching again on Achimpong and Badiashile, because how good did you think they were? As a partnership, I thought they were both brilliant in that game.
Yeah, they did a bit. Badiashile sort of did none of the flashy stuff and got through it well. A good solid performance until he went off.
Yeah.
Achimpong I was really impressed with. Maresca has always maintained that he's someone he really likes. He obviously had the situation with his contract and being frozen out last season, which I don't think went down well with anyone that wants to see these players progressed and pushed on. I thought he was fantastic against Liverpool. He was all that aggression I spoke about in the midfield.
Yeah.
He was bringing that from the back four as well, snapping into tackles, had the gumption to step forward and charge forward out of the back four and trouble Liverpool, frankly, and move through their near invisible midfield at times. I was really impressed, and you do hope, like Caballero said, that it's not an enormous issue and he can be back, because there's no one else at the moment, is there? But he'd be deserving of that spot now as well.
And lastly, I just wanted to talk about Romeo Lavia, because he has been out for so long and Chelsea have been managing him in the same way. When he's been injured, they've been managing him in the same way as in they managed Reece James, in the sense that his minutes will be managed. But when he plays for Chelsea, I think that Chelsea are the best version of themselves when
he makes such a difference. He's got this, and he's always had it, whether it was coming from City into Southampton, who were a terrible team that he was part of there, and had his injury problems. But when he played, he was fantastic.
He played for Southampton.
Everyone's played for Southampton. You saw when he came on, obviously he's being reintroduced, as you said. It was sort of a no frills when he first came on and just getting a feel of the game. But as I mentioned with Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, the intent was there as soon as he got on the ball. Once he relaxed into the game, got himself up to speed, he picked up that intent from them and nothing fell off. Chelsea as a group got so much better with the substitutes, and that's a big thing for Maresca, considering he admitted after the Brighton game that he got it wrong. He got it bang on this time. The level just went up and the intensity went up, and everyone kept that same spirit and drive. And Lavia was a big part of that, picking it up, moving it forward with speed, with accuracy and with intent. And that's a huge addition to any midfield.
Right, Jack, that's all we've got time for on this episode of Chelsea Exposed. Thank you very much, firstly, for joining me here in the studio.
You're welcome, mate. Best of luck surviving the international break over the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be a rough international break, and after that, Chelsea will return with an away fixture against Nottingham Forest. If you don't, watching this video, like and subscribe, Chelsea might just get beaten by Ange Postecoglou's side. So make sure you do that, and we'll see you after the international break.